Welcome to this week's Food Sports Central, the podcast of the World Food Championships. I am always your host, Mark Conway. And again, we've been meeting the top 10 contestants that are going to battle it out through the culinary gauntlet that is Final Table. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Final Table, it is the finale. It is the top of the mountain. It is the end-all, be-all. If you are a food sport competitor that battled your way through the World Food Championships in Dallas this past year, this is the table you want to be at. It's going to be 3 challenges. They are very specific. They are not tied to any one category. They do not allow one person to maybe have a leg up of someone else. This is purely testing culinary chops, creativity, inspiration, excitement. All of those things come into play when you talk about something like Final Table. So we've met a couple of champions already. We're going to meet another champion today who is absolutely no stranger to food sport. This is not the first time this competitor has battled out in an arena somewhere in the world of food sport and comes from the category that has probably the most competitors all over the world, and that is barbecue. If you've never been to a barbecue competition, I'm talking whether it's World Food Championships or it's Memphis in May or it's the Royale or the Jack, whatever it is another world. I went to, my experience with Memphis in May last year was just incredible. It is a smell like you can't even quantify, because as you move through this ginormous area, you're hit with every tantalizing, delicious, just perforating smell. Your clothes walk away, and you walk away and your clothes are just like, oh, I still smell that. I need to eat this now, and I need to eat that now. It is another world when it comes to competitive barbecue. So the World Food Championships barbecue competition came inside for the final 10, and they competed head-to-head with things like plating and just the same kind of things you saw from every other category. And this competitor survived both rounds, survived our master judges, which was that new addition to the competition this year, and is now getting ready for Final Table right in the midst of the rest of the barbecue competition year. And I am really excited to bring to the show today Sterling Smith, the grand barbecue champion of the World Food Championships here. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm amazing. I'm excited. I'm proud to represent the barbecue category. You know, this is my 3rd time actually competing at World Food Championships. I did it when it was in Vegas, and then coming last year, and then this year being my 3rd year to actually become the barbecue champion and compete against a lot of the peers and guys that I respect and that I've seen, you know, coming up, and be able to present that Final Table was a phenomenal experience. So I just can't wait for it to get better and get to that Final Table and show what barbecue can do, man. It's not just putting meat in a styrofoam box, right?
I mean, that's the thing. That was the big thing this year that really separated what you got going on from other barbecue competitions to where you were at the top 10 round that we'll get into about at World Foods, is because it's not just in the styrofoam box. It's got everything now. You have to have appearance, and you have to have plating, and you have to have sides, and all of these things that all cohesively work together.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of different than your barbecue championship world from traveling around the country competing in barbecue.
Yeah, 100%. You know, a lot of what we do is that standard turn-ins. Everything's kind of, you know, fits inside that mold. But what really I love doing is pushing myself, you know, making myself uncomfortable, getting outside of that box and working with people that make me better. You know, my sous chefs, Mike Johnson has been a big influence on me in terms of the chef side. And, you know, seeing some of the stuff that he's doing, and then bringing John Reeves in from Texas and Smoking X as my sous chef as well. So we all worked together, and we did take it outside of that box, and we elevated it. So I wanted to take that barbecue and show that it's not just a brisket on a piece on a plate. You know, it's not just some pulled pork there. We can take that protein and we can chef it up. We can turn it into something exquisite. We can turn it into something that can compete on the same stage with a fillet, you know, with an amazing dessert dish, you know. So, you know, we want to show that, and I'm proud that I can show that we can do that with barbecue. And World Food Championships gives us that opportunity, that platform to express what we want to do culinary, that's more creative, and that's more outside of that, that like I said, outside that styrofoam box. But to me, it's just the opportunity to get to present my food to that panel of judges was just one of the highlights of my barbecue careers. Absolutely.
So let's back up just a little bit before winning the category this year, Barbecue at World Foods. When you hit the ground in Dallas, you were coming off a pretty successful year already, and you hit the ground in Dallas. Did anything feel different when you started to walk around Kitchen Arena this year than in previous competitions?
To me, it was a special weekend. It was Veterans Day weekend, and I'm a Navy vet, and it felt I felt the energy there. I told myself, it was the same weekend as KCBS World Finals, and I had the chance to go to KCBS World Finals. But I told myself last year, after taking reserve grand champion to Robert in the barbecue area, that one of my goals was to win World Foods. So, I chose to come to World Foods to make that dream happen, to make that goal happen. And that first round was crazy because I actually was not in the top five, or actually the top, I think it was top five that they took from the eat category. But this year they had the master judge choice. So based on my presentation, based on my plating, based on my dishes, they actually gave me the master judge selection to be that sixth person going into that finals with the top five from CBA and the top five from eat. And I rolled the dice and I said, you know what, I'm only going to do eat. I'm not going to do the CBA. I'm just going to focus on this. And the stars aligned. It happened. They picked me to go to that final table. And then once I knew I got to that final table, we're all on the same field. We don't roll up points, especially when you're doing CBA and eat, because the point system doesn't work. I get it. So to me, I just needed that chance to get there because we're all starting from scratch. And when we start from scratch, then the winner shines. And so I'm no stranger to presenting to a group of panels. I've been on TV, several shows before. So I love the opportunity to look those judges in the eye and tell them exactly what I'm doing, why I did this, and the story behind what I'm cooking. So to me, that was a game changer. I'll cook a good brisket all day long and work with my team to make it right and give you a phenomenal plate. But when I get the chance to talk to you of why and how, that takes it to a different level. And the judges scored me a perfect 100 in barbecue. All judges gave me a perfect 10. So it meant a lot.
And I got to tell you, the master judge category in barbecue was like a Mount Rushmore of barbecue. So for people to understand, that was huge. And it worked out for you on both sides. It worked out for putting you into the finals. Right. And then it worked out for you winning because you got to present to this panel of just legends. And so here
Famous Dave. Yeah. I had Chris Lilly. We had Tuffy Stone. We had Leanne Whippen. Harry Sue. To be able to see these guys that I've grown up with and seen been successful, it was awesome.
That was pretty epic. And they were thrilled. They loved being there. They loved your dish. And so now here you are. You've got this dish. You're presenting it to this master judge panel. What was your championship dish?
So, what they did was Chairman's Reserve was the sponsor, the brisket sponsor. So, we were given these amazing Chairman Reserves briskets, 2 of them. So we were given a time frame to cook that brisket and present a dish to the judges and explain why, or what was the reason, or what was our inspiration behind the dish. And, it was a cold weekend. It's November. It was rainy. So a lot of people did chili, and I can see, that's a great thing to do, to turn that brisket. So our end goal and our what we were instructed to do was turn in brisket and burn-ins. So like I said, we could do whatever we wanted to do with it. So I wanted to think back, and going back to what I said was it was Veterans Day weekend. I thought about my time in the Navy. I was stationed in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. I traveled all through the Asian Pacific and Hong Kong, Singapore, Guam, all through those countries. And I really loved all the little finger foods, all the little samplers, the dumplings, the gyozas, the skewers and the teriyaki and all of it. And so I wanted to give them my inspiration of a poo-poo platter. And, I mean, we have some amazing minds in the culinary world, and Mikey Johnson threw out QQ platter, and so we ran with it. And so we took that brisket and we made an amazing crab and brisket fried rice. We did a quail egg on top with a sesame oil drizzle. We also wanted to take we wanted to have 4 dishes on there. So obviously a poo-poo platter, you're going to have multiple samplings. So we did the fried rice. We also took the brisket and did an overstuffed egg roll. We smoked some mango and did a smoked mango chili, sweet chili sauce right across that egg roll. And then we took the burnt ends out, cubed them up, and I did a teriyaki pineapple burnt end skewer with a toasted sesame seed right on top. And then we also did a gyoza, or a dumpling. We took a brisket and shiitake mushrooms, some garlic, simmered it down, threw it in a dumpling. We steamed them off. And then we created something called a China Lina gold sauce. So you think of some Chinese hot mustard, Carolina gold sauce. We kind of mixed the two and created a China Lina gold sauce. And then we added a little wasabi aioli right on top of that little gyoza. And then we presented our QQ platter to the judges. And to me, it was one of my top culinary experiences and one of the highlights, like I said, of my career, to be able to present that dish and explain, the reasoning behind it and have those judges just enjoy it. It was like I said, cherry on top.
I think the judges enjoying it might be a bit of an understatement because, that's the thing about World Food Championships. You mentioned it. You go outside the styrofoam docks. You've really got to compete on a culinary level. You took that and ran with it by saying, okay, not only am I just going to do the best barbecue, but I'm going to present it in such a manner that showcases on the world stage how spectacular these ingredients can be when they're, to use your term, chefed up, when they are really put into some very familiar profiles, some very familiar dishes. But I mean, if you, for those watching, if you have not eaten world-class barbecue, you have missed out on one of the quintessential flavors you're ever going to experience in life.
Absolutely.
Because it takes a protein, these meat proteins, even the vegetables I've seen done through some of the championships, it transforms them because of the low and slow, because of the different woods and the smokes and the things of that nature. It transforms them into a flavor that you cannot get anywhere else but by these world-class barbecue champions. And I mean, you really do run the circuit. This is what you do. This is where you're at. And not only did you win the barbecue camp category at World Food Championships in 2022, what else did you do?
Oh man. So, this past American Royal, this is my 8th year competing in American Royal, and it's one of my favorite competitions to do all year. It's a huge family reunion. I get to see competitors that I haven't seen, since the last American Royal. And, to me, that is the pinnacle, the top, the elite. It's the comp with 500 plus barbecue teams. The Invitational is all grand championship cooks. They're all grand champions from all over the world. This year, there was close to 250 invitational teams and over 500 open teams. So my first year competing at the American Royal Invitational was 2014, and when it was in Kansas City. The last year is the West Bottoms in Kansas City. That year, I had a phenomenal year as well. I ended up taking reserve grand champion and open that year of close to 500 teams. That was kind of I think that's kind of the start to my barbecue career and how I got involved with rubs and sauces and where I am today. That was one of the highlights, or one of those moments where I went from being a barbecue competitor to, okay, this is getting serious now, So to come back this past year in 2002 and reserve grand champion, the open again out of 500 plus teams was, it's validation that you're doing something right. It's just like anything else. If you're not keeping up with trends, if you're not cooking in your backyard, if you're not following what's happening out there, then you're going to be left behind. You got to constantly learn. You got to constantly be in your backyard. You got to constantly keep up with the guys who are doing it over and over. And to me, it was a good year to come off the American World and to go to the Jack and represent, at the Jack Daniels World Invitational in Lynchburg, Tennessee. It's one of the elite barbecue competitions on the circuit as well. And this was my 4th year representing Arizona. To get a rib call there out of all the champions and have my sauce come fourth in the world was a phenomenal, October, November, and then the roll into World Foods. And then this year I started out a Slaborama competition in January here. There's close to about 60 teams, and I tied for grand champion to reserve grand champion. So to continue to see that passion and that energy and that flow from last year to come into this year is something that I'm working on. I mean, it's all keeping everything together. I mean, if you stop for 1 second, you're not going to be there. You have to continue to push yourself. You have to continue to make yourself uncomfortable. And I've been chasing a steak first place for, I can't tell you how, 3-4 years now. I've always been a more of a barbecue guy. I've done maybe, let's say, a dozen SCA comps. I've promoted several of them, but this past weekend was a National Barbecue Association conference in Orlando. There was a double, and I actually got my first place golden ticket in steak this past weekend, and then the steak B, I took 6. So to see that hard work pay off too in another sanctioning body that I'm unfamiliar. I don't want to say unfamiliar with, but it's not my bread and butter. It's not what I do. But I wanted to, like I said, make myself uncomfortable and put myself in that position to want to get better and want to try harder and want to get it right. And this is what the finals of World Food Championships is. It's everybody that wants to get it right. They want to put the time, the energy, the love into that one dish that the judges are going to say, that's it. And if you're not doing it, you're not going to get there. You're not going to be there. So
very true.
I'm honored to be able to be in that elite category of all these competitors in these categories that are pushing themselves, that are making it right, and then that want to be there. So it's an honor to represent barbecue.
And you represent it very well. And you do lots of prep getting ready for these different competitions, and those are a lot of known factors. You're now on this path, this journey to final table where there's lots of unknown. There is lots of this. You talked about getting out of your comfort zone. I could tell you final table will be completely out of pretty much everybody's comfort zone because you won't know everything. You're going to be cooking in methods and ways and products you may have never done before. How do you find yourself preparing, or how do you get yourself in the right mindset to be ready for a competition of this magnitude? Yeah.
And I think what you said, that last thing you said right there was mindset. You have to have your mind right. And I teach classes all over the world. Tomorrow will be my 100th in-person barbecue class for a men's group here in town. I got 100 guys. And I teach this in my competition classes. A lot of it is mindset. You have to not only prepare and get yourself and be organized and have a game plan and all that, but you have to have that mindset of, this is going to happen. I'm going to make this happen. This is where it is. There's a lot of manifestation in that, a lot of belief. And I'm a huge believer in that. I think a lot of that had to do with the military. In me is there's no other option in the military, right? It's you live or you die. You can put that mentality into cooking and barbecue, whatever it may be, if you want. This is what we're doing, and we're going to get it right. We have to adapt. We have to overcome. There are going to be struggles throughout that mission, but if we fix it here, if we change, if we figure out how to get out of this situation right here, we have to be able to adapt, and we have to be able to overcome. We have to be able to be successful. So a lot of my military training was that. This is what you do to perform the mission. So I take that into cooking every single time. This is what I'm going to do. This is my game plan. All I have to do is execute. At that point, it's execution. And I love teaching classes, and people say, well, you're just going to go out there and tell everybody what you do? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. You just got to do it. You got to execute. That's the hard part. Information's out there. You can read a book. You can watch a YouTube video. I got videos online. You can do all that. But the fact of executing and making it happen is action. And that's energy, and that's power. And not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody will. It's that top percentage of people that are going to do it. So to me, if I can be that motivator for somebody to take that energy and take that information and make them better, then I succeeded. I won,
100%.
And that's what it's about. And that's what we have to learn as not only barbecue, but, a group of competitors, people who support and want to see each other do well. We have to continue to get that energy back and flowing. But The mindset is 100% where you have to be. If you go into it thinking you're going to get overwhelmed over anything, you're out of the game. You have to go in knowing it's going to happen. And whatever comes at you, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to overcome. You're going to make it happen. Win or fail, I mean, you give it all, and that's all you can do.
That's the perfect outlook. You can't control every situation except for your mindset going into that situation. And, when you're not going all over the place, competing all year long, what else is it you're doing in the food industry? We'll just say from your day-to-day job.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually, after the military, I went to Arizona State University. I got a degree in finance, and I was in banking and commercial real estate lending for small business lending for several years here in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. And I found barbecue, in 2006, 2007 I worked for a bank that was based out of Kansas City. And eventually they had a barbecue competition. I went and I saw it and I fell in love with it. And here I am now. I left the banking industry about 6 years ago to run my own distribution line. I have a line of barbecue rubs and sauces that are manufactured and distributed for Old World Spices, a great partner of mine. So they're distributed all over Ace Hardware, Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, a lot of small independent retail stores. I have about 8 countries importing it. And Lowe's Hardware just picked up one of my black rubs, the Jolly Roger. I'm working on a lot more outlets right now. So to be able to take that line and grow it, and to be able to see expand, and to it's been amazing to see where it's come from. But what's given me an opportunity to grow that line and expand my brand and my product is working with a company like Green Mountain Grills. It's a pellet smoker company that's been a great supporter of mine for years. And I'm not only a brand ambassador, I am a manufacturer's rep. So I cover a couple states for dealers. So I work with them to grow their brand. I also created what's called the GMG Backyard Pit Master Classes. So I travel to retailers all across the world who sell the grill. And I teach everything from backyard classes to competition classes, and I show people how to use the grill and how to, just create amazing food for their family and friends. Besides teaching, I run my own website, and then, what else do I do? I compete a lot. Every other so weekend, I'm doing some brand ambassador. Tomorrow, I'm teaching the class. I said this week I'm working with the Ace Hardware Group. We're doing a Southwest sampling of demos of products that they sell throughout the Southwest. I'll be at the Shields headquarters in a couple months doing a brisket class for Shields employees who happens to carry my product. And I wrote 2 books. Actually, one of them just became the third place barbecue book of the year at the National Barbecue Association, my ultimate book of barbecue sauces. And I don't know what's next, man. Maybe I may have a line of mittens, or
I like that.
Who knows?
I'm gonna have all this stuff in a line of mittens. Like that's the best
some little booty mittens,
ever.
Socks, maybe some knitting, macrame. Who knows?
I like that. With all that spare time that you have.
Yeah, exactly.
So outside of barbecue, when you go somewhere else to eat, when you're going to experience food, and you go to a different city, what kind of food are you looking for?
Living in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I love Mexican food. I love Latino food. I love all the flavors. I can't get enough of it. I really love local restaurants. I love something that I can't get in Phoenix. Phoenix being so huge and Scottsdale being so huge, we have pretty much every restaurant in the world here. So I love to, when I travel, to go somewhere that I haven't been, somewhere that I can't get at home. And it may not be Mexican. It may be Jimmy Jam's mom and pop bakery down the road. I love that. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was raised in Mississippi, Florida, and Georgia most of my life. So, mayonnaise and butter, anything with mayonnaise and butter, sign me up. If it was cooked in bacon fat, I'm there. I love all those kind of Southern eating. When I lived in Picayune, Mississippi, it was a lot of Cajun food. Give me a good shrimp po' boy. Give me some jambalaya, some gumbo. I love that. Flavor. I love things with just, Cajun foods like that. Just Mexican foods like that. You eat it, you're eating it. Yep. Anything with I love curries. Curries are one of my favorite things. And I didn't know I loved it as much until I started writing about a book of barbecue sauces, and I started making it. And it's hard until you get it right. Curry is one of those things that's got to be right. And now it's one of my favorite things to eat. It's a good coconut curry. So I love things with flavor. I love things with layers. I love things with sauces and moles and anything like that. I'm going right towards.
Yeah, you're definitely a barbecue guy from the South.
Exactly,
Heat,
right.
Sauces, flavor, bowl, all of that works really, really well.
I want it to punch me in the mouth when I eat it. I love heat. I love Thai food. I love Asian, all that kind of stuff. Because it's those flavors that draw me to it. You taste it, it's rich, and you can taste, when it's made at home, you can taste it. You can taste the love. You can taste the years of somebody making it right in that dish,
And so where can people follow your competition journey? Like, where are you on social media? And then where can people order your products?
Yeah, absolutely. On Facebook, I'm at Loot and Booty Barbecue, and Instagram at Loot and Booty BBQ. I'm a Navy vet, so I wanted something piratey and barbecue at the same time. And when I started barbecue, all the wild and crazy names out there. So I had the logo first because it was that pirate theme, floating around the sea for half of my life. And then the name just came naturally with it. So my website is www.lootandbootybbq.com. I have all my rubs, all my sauces. I got shirts. Hats are coming soon. We have books. I have stickers. No mittens yet, but, maybe we'll work something out soon, Mark.
I love it, guys. So if you haven't started following Sterling, you should do that now, because this journey is only going to get wilder. Final table is coming, and that is going to literally change the landscape for 10 competitors as they go head-to-head in 3 very distinct challenges to face the culinary gauntlet of what is going to be there in Bentonville, Arkansas. If you're not following the World Food Championships on Facebook and Instagram, why not? You should be, because that's where all of this news, all of these tidbits, all the up-to-date action is going to be. And then bookmark, set a tab, check daily, worldfoodchampionships.com, because I'm telling you, if you thought information was coming out before, it's going to start coming out extremely quickly, and we'll be at November before you know it. So you want deadlines, details, the next Taste of America competition, where you can qualify. It's all going to be on the website, worldfoodchampionships.com. Again, we've been here talking with the World Barbecue Champion, Sterling Smith, and thank you, sir, so much for being on today.
Thanks for having me. I have blast. I can't wait for this final. It's going to be one of the it'll probably be the elite, event of my culinary career. I can't wait to see everybody there. I can't wait for all the other competitors to get there. And I'm thank you guys for letting us have the opportunity to show the world what we can do, man. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Well, guys, barbecue's hitting the final table in just a couple of short months in Bentonville, Arkansas, at the WFC's finale for the 2022 season. Guys, stay up on social media and on the website, and we'll see you next week.